This is Jablam Hockey with your hosts, Peter Wojcicki and Paul Swinbeck. Welcome to Jablam Hockey, folks. I'm your host, Peter Wojcicki. You can find me on Twitter at Russian98, and I am with
Paul Zwambag. You can find me at Zwambag, Z-W-A-M-B-A-G. How's it going, everybody? Peter, what's up?
I'm watching baseball.
Oh, boring.
Yeah, I guess it's that time when your team is out. My team is out, the Leafs. My backup teams, because I've been a Leaf fan for so long, they're also out. I was cheering on the Capitals more or less because, it'd be nice if Ovechkin can raise the cup. And, of course, with my fantasy teams and my other one, I had Ducks more in my pool, but I really wanted the Oilers to do well, and they're also out. That was a rough Wednesday night. But how was it for you, Paul?
Excellent. Just fantastic. We started out, or the Penguins started out not that great. The first period was kind of shaky looking.
First 5-10 minutes, yeah. That was, the Capitals were just pouring it on, and,
Thank goodness for Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah.
He's playing lights out this entire playoff series or playoffs. And yeah, the late night game, I was hoping for the Oilers. I had the Oilers and Penguins meeting in the finals, so the Oilers are done.
Yeah, I was iffy on both. You know me, I had both Ducks and the Oilers, but I had slight edge for the Oilers, and I'm also sad because I liked watching them. And man, Draisaitl, right? Man, he was getting better and better every game too, eh?
Yeah, he definitely looked better than McDavid most times. McDavid was still getting chances, but he also had a shadow called Ryan Kessler all over him all series. So
we have to remember, how old is McDavid?
21.
Is he 21 now? I
20.
thought he was still like 20.
20.
I don't know. People are expecting a little, maybe too much from a guy that just finished being called a teenager. So, it's
Just
tough.
think about what Crosby went through his first couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. And all these guys, and the guys in the Maple Leafs, the guys in the Oilers, Draisaitl, this is his third season, right? And
not even, 2.5.
Yeah, basically. He was amazing. So the future still looks very good for the Oilers too. They're only going to get better, these guys, and their defense. So, chin up. And, we'll talk a little bit more about guys we consider MVPs in the playoffs so far.
Kessler made a very good comment after they won Game 7 that you need to learn how to lose Game 7s to win Game 7s. So losing a Game 7 for the young Oilers is great for their leadership and getting better, just like the Leafs in the first round. They learned a lot in that series. So these young teams are learning lots, and that's what we want to see. And next year they'll probably be even better.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what Babcock wanted, especially to play that Game 7 versus the Capitals. It would have been nice. But all right, what do we have this episode? Well, we will team ISO the Capitals with special guest Chris Gordon, and then we're gonna summarize the second round, and we're gonna make our third round predictions in this episode, as well as a blog coming out soon. But first, trending now. Buffalo has signed a new GM, Jason Botterill.
Yeah, stole the Pittsburgh Penguin assistant general manager.
So the ex-player,
not the first time this has happened to Pittsburgh. Pretty sure Minnesota did it back 3 or 4 years ago. So,
and it's nice. A name we don't, the whole GM coach, roulette with carousel per se, changing up guys and everything. But no, this is nice. A little more of a fresh name, an ex-player in the NHL. So, new GM, that's good. Good for Buffalo, a bit younger, which is good too, to go with their young core. So hopefully it's a good thing. We'll see what happens with the Sabres and see what he does with an interesting summer, to say the least.
They need to get a coach, and I read somewhere, I don't know where, maybe I just saw it on Twitter, that Botterill is a big fan of Rick Tocchet, assistant coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins. So maybe once the Penguins are done their playoff games, then maybe they'll name Rick Tocchet as their coach. That might be putting strings together there, but Rick Tocchet could be Buffalo Sabres head coach in the future.
I've heard there's been a lot of baggage with Tocchet and some other stuff, so I don't know. I would be iffy on a guy that has been linked to some odd things with, what is it, with some kind of gambling in Vegas and stuff. So, we'll see.
In Vegas, you say?
Yes, in Vegas. We'll talk a bit about that in a second. The influx of Russians coming to NHL, of course. Recently, we've had Radulov come back, and he was amazing this season. Zaitsev, they just brought in on the Leafs, and he was pretty fine on the back end. Panarin the year before on the Hawks, and he's fit really well. So it looks like NHL looks to be adding some more blood from the motherland. Kovalchuk wants to come back. I guess he's going to meet with Ray Shero. What are they going to do? Are they going to sign and trade him? Did you hear about this whole thing about the VRL, Paul?
What is the VRL? Virtual reality limiter.
It's the voluntary retirement list. So I was thinking, okay, well, Devils will have to have this huge cap hit now because they still have Kovalchuk technically on contract for another 1 billion years. They're going to get really hit hard on the cap. But apparently Kovalchuk can just voluntarily say, I'm retired, because, well, he did go to the KHL for 3-4 years, and now he's coming back. So, no cap hit at all. I don't get this. This is a big loophole. This is horrible. It seems like you can just sign a guy to any long contract then, and one guy can just say, oh, I'm going to voluntarily retire, and then just, leave for a year. Take a year off. Pull a Tim Thomas and hide in a cave in Colorado, and then or go to the KHL or some other league for a year, and then come back. And then your contract is off the books, and the team slides a little extra money under the table to you to do that. I don't know. That just seems horrible.
I don't know what would be better, a cave in Colorado or the KHL.
Come on, Paul. There's some pretty good cities in Russia. You haven't been there. You can't just say this stuff.
I've never been there.
Just because you're reading some of these articles on the Players Tribune, right? And some of them are pretty rough.
Well, you can go to China. You can live in China and be in the KHL. Yeah. Don't they have a China team in the KHL now?
Yeah, there's a lot of teams now in the KHL. But they're in and out sometimes. Like there's one Croatia and Slovakia and etc. So the Czech Republic. Yeah, there's a lot of teams everywhere now in the KHL. It's pretty big now. But it just, I don't know. It just bothers me with that. But the other thing is, and we're posting a lot of these things on our games notes on JablamHockey.com. I'm even looking at articles right now in Sportsnet when we posted this one. Potential destinations for Kovalchuk. What do you think about them, Paul? Here, I'll throw it out to you. Montreal? Yay, nay, maybe?
No, I don't think so.
No? Dallas?
Maybe.
That would be a lot of offense if they can put the rest of it together.
Well, it depends on how much he's going to sign for, because they might have cap issues.
Cap issues, yeah. Minnesota Wild? That would be pretty interesting. I'd like that. I would like that. The LA Kings?
Did he play with Parise in New Jersey? Yeah, they screwed over the Devils, Kovalchuk and Parise, so he could go play with Parise again and mess up Minnesota.
I would kind of like that. That would be cool. Minnesota needs that extra offense. That would make them put them over the edge there. The LA Kings?
No,
I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
The Edmonton Oilers?
I don't think so. They had a rough patch with Yakupov, one Russian. I don't know if they'll go that way. And I can't see Peter Chiarelli doing that.
And then there are the rumors that they are looking, obviously, to trade Eberle the way he played in this playoffs. So if they could trade him, they'd have a lot of room on that, cap.
I don't think so. Maybe he'll go play with Yager.
Yeah, that is a possible destination. Maybe in Carolina. They got, obviously, a lot of cap space with a lot of rookies.
Maybe he'll go back to Winnipeg.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
But it would be interesting. Back to Winnipeg, but
it would be really interesting. One of them is Las Vegas Golden Knights.
That is the Vegas Golden Knights. Dropped the loss.
Sorry there. Or should we just call them the SKA Golden Knights? No? Because apparently they're just going to pluck every superstar from the KHL, or at least SKA. They already signed Shipachyov last week. They're rumored to be signing Dadonov. Maybe even, why not Kovalchuk? Maybe some more. This is pretty crazy. This is pretty good, actually, by McPhee, right?
Oh, definitely, because who else came from SKA a couple of years ago, or SKA? Artemi Panarin. Chicago Blackhawks stole him. So can Shipachyov turn into that, and then maybe he plays with Dadonov, and if he can somehow get Kovalchuk to talk to Ray Shero, and maybe the Devils keep Kovalchuk and they give him out to expansion. Interesting.
Yeah, this would be whole Russian mafia in Vegas, or is there already one?
Don't Google Russian Vegas. It comes up with mafia.
Apparently, that's what I saw. And then the other thing was Strickland on Twitter said that Yakupov has zero plans of returning to Russia and fully expects to play in the NHL next season.
In Vegas.
In Vegas. We're just going to add in Vegas to everything. Yeah, he could potentially go there as well. That would be really interesting. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a crazy summer. All right, let's move on to some signings and trades. Bishop goes to Dallas. 4th round pick going the other way to LA. So what are they going to do with 3 goalies, Paul?
They're going to give one to expansion, and one of them's going to Vegas.
So basically anybody's problems are going to Vegas. Is that what's also happening?
Pretty much. Vegas is going to be the problem team, and that kind of is expected with the expansion team, and they need to get to a certain cap bottom, so they need they need bad contracts, and it hurts expansion teams because they have to take those bad contracts to get to the cap floor because they're not signing top guys. So that's what happens with expansion, and it sucks for the expansion teams, and that's why they're kind of in a hole right to begin with.
Dallas only has the 1 year left for both Lettinen and Niemi, so it's possible, or they can stick with the 3 for 1 year if they're gonna if they can lock up Bishop. Then the other goalie last year, also with a three goalie dilemma team, is the Carolina Hurricanes, trading a 3rd round pick to Chicago for Scott Darling, and they lock him up $4.15 per year for 4 years. So I guess Cam Ward is also going to Vegas?
Yep. It's going to be Vegas and Niemi as their goalies, and Fleury's supposedly going, pretty much any time you talk about expansion draft and ask anybody that covers their teams or anything, they're like, well, they're going to take one of our goalies. They're going to take one of our goalies. And everybody thinks a goalie is going to Vegas, and it's going to be nearly impossible.
It would have been nice. It would have been nice if one of those goalies was like a Scott Darling, a guy that has been a backup, is fighting up for a number 1 role, and then gets that chance over there. That would be better than having one of these guys that's been around and now isn't playing as well, but has a huge cap hit now going to Vegas. So
it's gonna happen, Peter. There's like Philip Grubauer. There's a lot of backup goalies that are just stuck behind talented number
starters.
Ones that are not moving anywhere, and Antti Ranta is a possibility.
Yes, and that would be a good move if they were to pluck Ranta from the Rangers. I would like to see that happen. And maybe get a veteran guy, like maybe a Ward as their backup, something like that, maybe, right? So we'll see. It'll be interesting. And then some contracts, extensions. LA Kings extend Tanner Pearson $3.75 per year for 4 years.
I don't think that's that bad.
Yeah. Is he a full-time top 2-line guy?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And only 24 years old.
Yeah. So that's pretty good. Pretty much prime offensive years for that cap hit. That's pretty good.
And mainly compared to the next guy you're going to talk to.
Yeah. Finally, Richard Panik cashes in. He gets 2.8 per year for 2 years in Chicago. I liked him when he was on Leafs, and of course he couldn't get that big ice time. I guess the same thing when I think he was with Tampa before, and now he got the chance on Chicago. He's been doing fairly well for them. Maybe not so much in the playoffs, maybe especially this year, but he's still putting up a fair bit of points, and he hits long offensive strides where he's on fire for a couple of weeks, and he puts up some big points. So that's a pretty good deal, in my opinion. A guy that can fit on any of the top lines whenever need to and produce fairly well.
Yeah, I think Pearson's a better number, 900,000 more for Pearson for 4 years at 24 than
Yeah.
Panik, 26 years old for 2 years. So
Yeah.
I'd rather Pearson's deal there.
Yeah. He will probably should have some more upside as well in him with the years and the way he plays.
One other contract, Peter, entry-level
Yes.
contract. Linus Soderstrom, goaltender for the New York Islanders prospect cupboard. Elias Sorokin signed a 2-year contract for the KHL, so he's going to be there for another 2 years. Sorokin and Soderstrom are kind of both been competing in the Islanders camps, so Soderstrom looks like he's going to win out for right now, and they'll wait for Sorokin to come over. So Soderstrom might be backing up Greiss next year.
Did you see that the post in Germany for Greiss?
Nope.
Jesus Greiss superstar.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's fabulous. We will
Wow.
also post that on our game notes. I will look for it. It's out there on Twitter. Go find that. That's hilarious. Paul, let's do some summarizing of the second round. We'll also talk about our favorite players in each series. And first, let's go with the games that just finished. Game 7, as we're recording this on Thursday, obviously. Last night was pretty wild with some big Game 7s. And then there was the Ducks versus the Oilers. First off, who did you really like to watch in the series?
The Anaheim-Edmonton series?
Yeah.
Leon Draisaitl. I thought he just stepped up his game, stood on his head, almost 2 points per game, 13 points in the 7 games. Remarkable second round for Leon Draisaitl.
Yeah, he just kept on getting better and better. That one game, he was outstanding. That line of the German assassin, that is the Leon the Professional, with Luch and what I like to call the sleepy Russian, Slepyshev, they were pretty dynamite, and they got better as the series got on, but just, couldn't finish it in Game 7. And the two guys, I liked both Draisaitl and as well Getzlaf. He was amazing in this series. He's just amazing. I don't know how to specifically pinpoint it, but he just knew how to utilize his tool, that is the stick, to tip pucks in the right area and where to be at the right time. He was amazing.
I don't know if you saw in one of the games, Corey Perry switched his hands around to tip a shot in front of the net, because Getzlaf, I think, was coming across the blue line, walking the blue line, and Corey Perry went from a right-handed shot and switched his hands in front of the net to a left-handed shot, so the stick face was, there's more stick face for Getzlaf to target.
Wow.
Rather than being a right-handed shot and backhand. Yeah, he switched his stick around, so he was shooting left-handed with his right-handed stick in front of the net.
It reminds me of the time, was it Corey Perry or was it Bobby Ryan now? I think Perry did it once too, where they stole the stick from the other player, and it was pretty much almost the other hand, and still scored.
I think it was those two guys, Perry and
Ryan. And Ryan, they both had instances where they did that, right? Yeah. I'm not surprised coming from Corey Perry. He's pretty interesting like that. The other guys that I really liked in this series, especially covering McDavid, and you mentioned it earlier, was Kessler with Cogliano and Vermette. I think they should have a nickname for this line. Can't put it together right now. But they're such a good shutdown line, but they can also put the puck in the net when they need be.
Yeah, and Kessler was basically McDavid's shadow, and McDavid kind of went on the wayside, and he was
Mm-hmm.
still trying to produce, but just 5 points in 7 games. That's
No.
not enough from Connor McDavid, your top guy.
Yeah, you need a little bit more from your main offensive production. But yeah, I again, like I said, it was my favorite series by far. Even Game 7 was dynamite. It was a great game. Uh, the tempo and the pace was up there almost from the beginning. And sometimes in Game 7s, and as you saw, and we're going to talk about this in a bit with the Penguins, they started off really slow. And that happens in Game 7s, and Penguins got a little lucky with good goaltending. But this game, just from the get-go, was high tempo, just like pretty much all the games in this series. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, and Cam Talbot needs a shout out. 272 shots against, most in the second round out of any goaltender. The next highest was Fleury at 229, so almost 50 shots more he
Yeah,
had against him. So Cam Talbot was a busy guy in the net.
yeah, he was great for them, and the Oilers just need to get a little bit better and shore up their defense a little bit better. But otherwise, they're looking good, especially for the future. All right, Preds and Blues. I liked, and I'm being a little bit broad. I really liked their defense, but especially Ekholm. I thought he was really good on both ends of the ice, which was a little bit surprising. I didn't know that he was also that type of player, but he could still help out in offensive production, and he's great in the back end. His speed is surprisingly pretty good.
Yeah,
So,
I'm gonna go with Ryan Ellis,
yep,
the other quiet guy. It's kind of a coming out party for him this playoffs. He hasn't really done much. He's kind of been the fourth, fifth guy on the team, and he's turning into the second, third guy
yep,
scoring wise and leading his team right now. And well, not maybe not now, but in the second round, tied with Yossi, 5 points in 6 games. So
yep.
Yossi's usually the guy that's putting up the big numbers, and it's Ryan Ellis that's doing it as well. So that whole defense core is outstanding to watch.
Yeah. What I really liked about Ellis's game, what I noticed was he was pulling a bit of that Goss's bear in terms of offense and flow, picking apart the flow of the play and being in the right time and knowing exactly when to pinch. And I noticed that a lot, especially in this second round when he was doing that. So Ellis has been doing well, especially on offense. What I've liked watching from him. Yeah, the Preds were just too much for the Blues, especially now that they're so mobile on the back end that their offense from the back end is very good. On top of an amazingly on fire Pekka Rinne. So yeah, we'll talk about it in a bit in terms of the next round. But the Preds look like a team that's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, and Pekarine's got that defensive core in front of him, so he's got probably not the hardest job, the hardest goaltending job out of the 4 goalies left. But yeah, Rene looks fantastic.
All right, the other game 7, your Penguins versus the Capitals. Also a great series. I think a little bit of a letdown in terms of the last few games. The energy wasn't there for both of the teams at the same time. So Capitals just seemed to control most of the play in like games 5 and 6. Then again, they started off game 7 amazingly well and hard, good hockey, but they couldn't beat Fleury. And then the Penguins just took over the rest of the game.
Yeah, the the big talking point comparison is Ovechkin versus Crosby, and it always gets, I don't know, nothing else matters in the series to the media than
Yeah,
Ovechkin Crosby. So there's the little things like Fleury's playing outstanding and kind of
yeah,
playing for his career, and it's now being talked about because he kind of helped them win the game 7 and did lots for that 7 game series that maybe the stats won't show, but he's making the timely saves when he needs to and keeping the Penguins in games.
yeah. It's quite a shame that Fleury's playing so well, amazingly at this time too, and in the playoffs, big games, big moments, and not a lot of people are talking about him. Like, no, not many people are talking about how not so great Holtby was, right?
Yeah.
That one goal, the Hornqvist goal, like, you're blaming Ovechkin on that play. Like, yeah, maybe he should have been at the half boards a little bit faster, but that puck shouldn't go in.
Yeah, Holtby did not look like regular season Braden Holtby.
Yeah, even versus the Leafs, I thought he was above average at best. And again, in this series, he was above average. You need to be better than above average to win playoff series.
You need to be better than 887 save percentage.
Yeah, or if you pointed at that, yes. When the versus the Leafs, he had a better save percentage, but yes. So yeah,
but then again, John Gibson had 895 in the second round. Yeah. So,
and we will talk about that as well. But yeah, you need to be better than that if you want to go all the way to finals and win that cup, and especially against a team like the Penguins. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, a lot of people were talking about possession-wise, and the Capitals were pretty good. I thought the Capitals, technically in my mind, I think they were better than the Penguins. But two differences. Marc-Andre Fleury, and number two, Penguins have top-end finishing talent. Guys that will finish and put the puck in the net. Malkin, Kessel, Crosby, and now even your boy, Jake Gunsel. So these guys are... Go ahead.
You can't forget Brian Rust.
Oh, for sure.
That guy is clutch. he puts the puck in the net when the team needs a goal badly, and Brian Rust is stepping up big time.
Yeah, and that's why the Penguins are the better team, and that's why they have the favorites to, go all the way again. So, yeah, it's tough for the Capitals, and you can't put it all on Ovechkin. You can't put it all on some other guys. It's a team game, and the Penguins have more finishing edge, firepower, and Fleury was playing really well. All right, let's move. Oh, did we pick our top players? Again, mine is obviously Fleury, and a big ups to, I think Schultz, again, is underrated and under the radar and playing a pretty solid game. Paul, yours?
I'm going with Marc-Andre Fleury. He was just fun to watch all series. When he's on his game, he's having fun, and you can see it. And the other teams should be worried when Marc-Andre Fleury's got that big gleaming smile, because he's zoned in. He's fired up, and it's going to be an interesting series next series.
Yeah, it's great. He's grinning from ear to ear. All right, Rangers, Senators. What can I say? Erik Karlsson is amazing.
Oh, he's outstanding.
Yeah.
There's a TSN had a board up that in each of Ottawa's game-winning goals. So there's been 8 game-winning goals because they've won 8 games. He's been either on the ice, assisted, or gotten the goal for the game-winning goal. He has been on the ice and part of the play in every single game-winning goal.
Mm-hmm.
And it also helps he's playing tons and tons of minutes. He plays the last 5 in the last 6 minutes, he gets 5 of those minutes in every single game.
Yeah.
He's remarkable to watch.
Yeah, it's amazing, and we all already know the injuries that he's dealing with while he's doing this. So, he's been outstanding. Series in general, again, the Rangers need to put more pucks in the back of the net. And it wasn't like Anderson was standing on top of his head. He wasn't. The Rangers need to score more. And I'm sorry, but Lundqvist can't do everything. Lundqvist can't skate up the ice and also put the puck in the net. He's trying his hardest to the max to save as much as he can. Did you see that save he made? Oh my God, the last game
against Karlsson.
Yeah,
he was on his keister and made the glove save.
He already made the one big save, and the puck goes right to Mr. Erik Karlsson, and wow, and he still makes eyes. Lundqvist is amazing.
Did you see him after the game? How devastated he was.
Oh,
he looked like he just wanted to give up and not be playing with the New York Rangers. They have not built teams well around him.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel sorry for Lundqvist. All right, moving on. Let's go to third round predictions. Now on the East side, we have the Senators versus the Penguins. Who will win? You know what? I'm easily going with Pens again in 6. Paul, yours?
Pens in 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're going back to the finals.
You did pick Ottawa to win last round. I had Rangers. I think most people still had Rangers in general. In the first round, everybody pretty much had Boston, right? To beat Ottawa.
Yep.
So I don't know. These Senators are so unpredictable. But in your, I don't know, in your thick head, how is it even possible Senators can even win a couple games? But they might, right?
Their system. They play a great system.
They're playing very, very well. So I won't be shocked if they win a couple, and that's why I'm giving them 2. But yeah, my X Factor, I don't know. I really don't know, but I'm on the Pens. I'm going to go with the X Factor so far, and that is Gunsel. How would you pronounce his name, Paul? Would you say Gunsel or would you say Gensel, as most of them are saying whenever I'm listening on air?
Gunsel.
And that's what I think. I don't know why they keep on saying Gensel. Maybe it's just Bob Cole, but I've noticed from a couple of other on airs, they're also saying Gensel. So,
well, you'll be happy to know Bob Cole is not calling any more games.
Ah, that's nice. That's very nice.
Poor Bob Cole. He has a great career. He is a great play-by-play guy. He's just at the end of his career.
Yeah, it annoys me a little bit that everybody keeps on protecting him or saying he's so good, I want to hear him, but he's making so many errors. I love Bob Cole. I enjoyed listening to him when I was a teenager, when I was in my 20s, you know, and even way before I was even born, he was probably announcing games. But it's a little past his prime now. Let him go. I don't want to hear him get worse. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But again, versus the Penguins, you could tell the whole series he's being a big homer for the Penguins, and that was annoying me a little bit even more on top of his errors. So, it'd just be nice if, you know, they let him go nicely. Enjoy your retirement, you know, don't stress out and go to all these games and, you know, I don't know how it is. I'm guessing that he still loves doing it and it's great, but it's hard listening to him sometimes. But who's your X Factor?
I'm going with Erik Karlsson. If he can carry the Ottawa Senators into the Eastern Conference Finals with 1 foot and playing 28 minutes a game, if he keeps playing the way he's playing and doesn't slow down, I don't think Pens in 5. I think it'll be 6 and maybe even 7, and Ottawa will give him a run for the money. It's all up to Erik Karlsson, and that's a big task ahead of him to go up against Malkin, Crosby, Kessel, Schultz, all the Penguins' firepower, and I just don't think it's going to happen. But if he can find another gear, which is remarkable to say, I'm going to say Erik Karlsson's the X factor in this series.
Yeah, he is a big factor, that's for sure. But I don't know, and that's the other thing with Ottawa. As goes Ottawa, as goes Erik Karlsson. In the games where he has been bad, very few and far between, Ottawa looks horrible. And in the games he looks great, the team looks outstanding. So, yes, if the more bigger games that he has, the more chances they have to win. So, we'll see. It's going to be an exciting series. I know Methot has already said he's moved on. I don't know if his finger has.
Yeah, his finger's moved on. Yes, he doesn't have a finger anymore, so it's gone.
Yeah. But yeah, I could see a bit of a rivalry happening here too, though. So that will be interesting. I think there's going to be a little bit of bite finally going on maybe in this. And usually the further the playoffs go, the less feistiness it is, the less angry it is. But I think we might see a little bit of that here in this series with what's happening between a few of the players.
And they've met up the past couple of years. I think that they've met up 4 times, and that's in a short span. So it should be interesting. There will be fire under each other's butts, so it should be a pretty good series.
It will be. And then we have the Predators versus the Ducks on the West. I don't know. What do you have, Paul?
Predators in 6. I think Nashville's just playing really, really good hockey. And
Yeah.
Anaheim had shaky moments. They had blowouts that the Oilers blew them out. So I
Yeah.
think the Predators can do the same. And there's not one line that they can really have that shutdown line, whatever you want to call the Kessler, Cogliano, Vermette line. They don't have one line to key in on, so it might be a little more interesting.
Yeah. I My X factor is John Gibson, and he hasn't been super outstanding, but he still, in my mind, has the potential to be. We've seen that previously, right? And maybe not so much in this playoffs, but I think he could still get better. And if he does, I think the Ducks will win. And I think the longer the series goes, the better the Ducks have to win the series. And that's why I'm picking the Ducks with a slight edge in 7 games.
Yeah, my X factor is going to be Philip Forsberg.
Okay.
He needs to turn it on, and for him to start playing a whole lot better. He's a plus 11, which is quite impressive because you look at other Nashville guys, plus 3, plus 2, like that. Forsberg's plus 11, that's impressive. So I think Philip Forsberg's definitely the X factor. If he gets going, then the Ducks are in deep trouble.
Yeah. It's a kind of a hard series to tell because how well the Preds have played and how the Ducks drain the energy out of teams the longer series goes with their physicality and their play. So it's the way they both these teams match up, very different, and so it'll be interesting how the series goes. I think it'll be very intriguing.
The defensive cores on both the teams are unbelievable. They're both deep defensive cores, so that'll also be fun to watch how the defense match up against each other.
Yep. All right. And that's that. We'll round up the second round with our MVP pick so far. Paul, who's your number 3?
Number 3 is Ryan Getzlaf.
Oh, perfect. I have him as my number 2. Yeah, we've already mentioned why he's playing so well, and just like the other guys. My number 3 is Marc-Andre Fleury, and he's stealing games for his team, and he's doing well while his team is doing great in front of him. But he's the standout for me, for sure, for the Penguins. Your number 2?
Erik Karlsson is my number 2. He has put the Ottawa Senators on his back and will need to continue to do so to get that Conn Smythe vote. But Erik Karlsson's my number 2.
So we already know who your number 1 is, because my number 1 pick was Erik Karlsson. And I think above and beyond, the Senators are on top of Karlsson's back, and that's why I have him as number 1. He's been dynamite, and we didn't expect his team to even go close to this far. So they've done really well with Karlsson and the team, on his shoulders. Your number 1?
Marc-Andre Fleury is my number 1. Kind of crazy because his stats aren't really that great. I was going through our stars that we're doing for our blog coming up.
Yeah.
And we've done for the past 2 rounds, and Pittsburgh's goaltending doesn't get very many stars, because it's all based on goals against average.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting thing is they're like a 1-star, but Marc-Andre Fleury's been most valuable player pretty much for the Penguins.
Yeah.
Kind of weird to say, but yeah, he's just making the right saves at the right time, standing on his head. I think the blowout that the Capitals had really hurts his percentage-wise, or his save percentage and his goals against. But yeah, Marc-Andre Fleury is my number 1 MVP. And it's kind of crazy because Malkin is leading the league in points and doesn't even get a top 3 Conn Smythe vote.
Yeah, nobody's talking about Malkin at all. And yeah, he's at the top there. So
1.5 points per game, and he doesn't even get an MVP. He's got to step it up in Crosby's absence.
Oh yeah, he's totally got to step up his game. I've tweeted about that already. Yeah, it's sad but true. But Malkin's under the radar, and I think that's how he likes it, and that's how he does better under the radar, right? So that's a good thing. I think that's a good sign when, there's not too much limelight on him and he just goes about his business. And that's it for this episode. Next episode we'll continue with third round matchups. We'll talk about some under the radar players in each of the series. We'll have another Jablam Junior Hockey update. And in the next few weeks, we'll be doing our team report cards. Hopefully, Paul will be doing his right at the end, but I'll be doing my Maple Leafs one, if not next episode, in the near future. And remember, go to jablamhockey.com. Please resubscribe or subscribe if you haven't. Rate and review us on iTunes. Check out our game notes. Check out our recent blogs. I know Sean and Brett have recently posted ones this week, so go check them out. And we're going to have our third round preview blog up there soon enough, so check them out. And also, looks like we're not going to be getting to our interview with Chris Gibson on the Capitals. Sorry about that, but we can get in contact with him. So hopefully we can get to maybe next week. And that's it.
Bye.